guys, welcome back, and I hope you're having an awesome day. I'm just sitting down for my first meal of the day, and I have oatmeal with a little bit of almond flour mixed in, and some almond butter, a little bit of honey, and almond milk. And I was thinking back on the past 4 to 5 weeks or so, and how there's been a big change in the foods I eat in general. And first of all, I need to fix this light that's just hanging out in my face. Okay. Nope, it's gonna be there. Anyways, so I actually used to avoid a lot of the foods that I now currently eat, and that is largely due to receiving a food allergy test. A food allergy test is something that I highly recommend to most people if they are just trying to figure out their own health, trying to figure out what's good for their body and what they should eat, and also just develop a healthier relationship with food. So the reason I say that is because oftentimes a lot of the foods that we crave, especially if they are cooked in low quality and unhealthy ways, they're not actually good for us. And there's certain allergenic triggers that contribute to inflammation that can actually make us want to go back and eat more of those. And so we might rationalize and think this food is healthy, I love to eat it, but I'm still having this chronic inflammation or, whatever going on, what's happening. So that's why I took a food allergy test. And it was super surprising, to be honest, because oh my god, just diving into so much over the years, really trying to understand my body, thinking about my lineage and what my ancestors subsisted on, which was definitely lots of meat and potatoes, things like that. And then also taking into consideration just how drastically I've changed what I've taken in over the past 12 years or so. Just put things in perspective. I've had to learn that the body is always changing, it's always shifting. There might be times when it's super beneficial and helpful to detoxify and just, go really light and maybe fast for a bit or only eat plant-based because A, it makes you feel really good, and B, it really helps lighten up digestion so energy can go elsewhere and help you heal chronic illness. Other times, as an example, we're currently in a big building stage in our lives where we are just going all the time. We are very busy entrepreneurs. With that, I know there's a few different experts that would agree with this too. We require more grounding, protein dense, higher calorie type food that's going to keep us nourished as well. And I've honestly witnessed that since changing my diet from being vegan, that I do quite well with animal protein, which is something I wish it wasn't the case, but I can't help it. I've been fruitarian. I have been hardcore keto paleo as well. Don't recommend it. Didn't really like it. Was raw vegan. Was cat. This is Mr. Tubbykins, and he's a naughty. So from raw veganism to a very whole foods, very nutritious vegan diet with lots of beans and legumes, things like that, to eating just more intuitively a variety of foods. I've tried it all, and honestly, sometimes I felt better, sometimes I didn't, and it felt like I was just sort of blind and picking things and really trying to make it work. All that said, I just got to a point where I was really confused and I was experiencing really bad skin breakouts, and I was like, I'm done with this. I recommended to clients to get a food allergy test every few years. It's definitely been a while since I've had one, and so I did one. And basically, it turned out better than I expected with the various symptoms that I've been having, particularly breaking out a lot on my skin, which is so much better now. I'm so happy. But it turned out that I do have sensitivity to quite a few of the foods that I was eating. So in an effort to stay more plant-based but not really digging too much into the meats, I was eating a lot of fish, and despite being aware of tuna and the potential of getting too much mercury from tuna, I was still having really high quality tuna every now and again, and that's something that I have the biggest sensitivity to. So not super surprising, but at the same time I was like, meh, The other fish that I am not supposed to eat is something that I actually did regularly eat all the time, and that's salmon. And it's a food that we all think is so nutritious and healthy for us, and it's a super healthy food. It's a super healthy food, but sometimes people have sensitivities to foods they eat too much as well of, which I think is part of what's going on here a little bit. So it's by 2 salmon and a list of other foods for about a year. And then what you can do is reintroduce the foods, see if there's any sort of reaction, and specifically introduce them one at a time so you can really get a feel for how they make your body feel. Give it 2 to 3 days. If things are good, you can pretty much assume that your intolerance has gotten better just from taking a break. So, blue mussel, trout, walnuts, duck. I don't eat duck. Buckwheat. I eat a lot of buckwheat and walnuts, or I used to. Barley and quinoa. 2 grains I didn't eat a lot of because I noticed that when I had quinoa, I didn't feel awesome. Cucumber and zucchini. Who's allergic to cucumber? But this girl. And it makes me sad because, get this, the next one is peas. I live off peas, or I used to. That's why there's been so many changes to the diet. But peas and zucchini pretty much take away the only form of pasta I really like other than chickpea pasta. And then lentils and beans I'm allergic to as well. And basil, because of course, basil. Everything else that was tested was fine. Believe it or not, there was no sensitivity to soy, to wheat, to eggs, to dairy, to pork, beef, turkey, chicken. Okay, and so this is where I was like, wow, what? And I decided that, you know what? It's time. I listened to my body. I've tried everything else. I've tried all these different diets. I've gotten to a place where I'm just a very intuitive eater and I kind of do whatever I want. But now I have some direction in knowing what foods just don't work well. And so I'm going off them for a year. And it's been around 6 weeks now. And the reason I went off these foods is because I wanted to try and clear my skin up again naturally. I was tired of breaking out. And so far, seems to be doing pretty good. So, I haven't had amazing skin since before I was 11, but it's the best it's ever been. So, I'm gonna get ready to get some hate. So, since I took the food allergy test and I realized that there are a list of foods that I just really shouldn't be eating, I cut them out. It's been 6 weeks. My skin is looking real good. And honestly, my digestion has been pretty damn good as well, which is a little confusing when you think about the fact that, I don't know, it goes against so much that I told myself, and honestly kind of got brainwashed to believe when I was really digging into veganism hardcore. But once again, I'm having oats again. I haven't had oats in years. I thought oats, I sound like a Canadian when I say that, but I thought oats weren't just good for my body, and I'm doing fine. I've also been eating quite a bit of chicken and turkey. I can't do beef yet. It makes me sad. Same with pigs and pork. It's not my thing. But I am eating more animal foods. I've been tracking all my caloric intake and the grams of protein and carbohydrates and fat that I get, and realized that I've actually been under eating in a lot of different nutrients and minerals as well. So using all the green foods that I'm good to have because they're non-inflammatory for my body, I've been almost able to meet all of my nutrient markers. But what I have found since I've started eating more animal products, it's harder for me to meet my caloric needs for the day, which I think is kind of interesting, honestly. So before, I was filling a lot of my caloric needs through carbohydrates and fat, lots of potatoes, avocados, and tahini, and just anything that would give me fuel, and lots of greens in addition to that. And I was also abusing honey and dates a little bit, putting lots of those in my matcha and elixirs and things like that. So that's part of why I switched to this as well. I was just you know what, girl, you need to start getting serious about your health, and you can't subsist off of caffeine and sugar. You need to have real food. In addition to that, I came across Dr. Gabrielle Lyons, who has a very novel approach in terms of encouraging more protein intake with the idea that we need to give more attention to the musculoskeletal system. Wow. And developing a healthy muscular structure so that we just naturally are able to adapt to aging better. But what I was talking about is tracking everything. I noticed that when I eat more animal protein, I'm full a lot faster, a lot sooner. And I don't know, I feel more satiated in general. Like, I definitely don't need those sweeteners and caffeine to get through. And I think that is the point. As a holistic nutritionist, I feel so dumb saying this, but I mean, this is the advice I would give to other people. So I am finally just taking it and following my handy little results, which I typed up for my food allergy test. And so far, it seems to be working out pretty good. So, in a nutshell, everyone's body is unique. There are foods that are beneficial and healthy for some people, like salmon, which for a lot of people, it's super nutritious, but for me, it's inflammatory. And there's a lot of different ways to eat. For some reason, people think that they need to be high and mighty about diets and telling other people what they need to eat, but really, my only message with this is just listen to your body, and if it's helpful, get a food allergy test. As I'm just sharing in this video, figuring out which foods are good for me and which foods aren't, and really understanding that certain allergies were developed because I was food shaming and preventing myself from eating certain foods out of the just cultural ideas that other foods were bad for me, was creating more problems. So now I feel like I have a better relationship with my body because I'm able to listen to it and actually know which foods I should be eating, and just when to tune out the bullshit. I hope you guys enjoy this video because I personally think food allergy tests are super interesting. If you've had one before, please definitely share your thoughts. Did you find it helpful? Did you avoid those foods for 6 months to a year? Did that improve your symptoms, your digestion, your skin? What? Tell me. I'm curious. But definitely subscribe if you're interested in more content. I will be touching base soon. Bye.